Hello guys, this is HyperX here and I'm back with another PC build. So this build is going to cost you around £500 and it's going to be targeted at 1080p gaming for less demanding games like the Dota 2, League of Legends, CSGO and those types of games, which is what it seems like what most people are playing these days. And it's going to feature the newly released GTX 950 from NVIDIA. So this is a 2GB card. This is going to be very good for 1080p gaming, and it's what it's targeted at to directly compete with the R9 370. And let's get on with the build. For the first component is the CPU, and for this one I chose the AMD's FX 6300. This is a 6-core processor clocked at 3.5 GHz, and it's very easily overclockable. So I haven't used this PC in this CPU in a while, but I decided to throw in this build because it's a very good 6-core processor. It's going to give you very good performance in games, and it's overall, for the price, it's only about 80 quid at the moment on Aria PC, and it's the performance you get for the money. It's very good, so I'd recommend getting that. But as we know, AMD's CPUs are pretty, especially FX line, are pretty get pretty warm, so you need an aftermarket cooler, and I would strongly recommend not using the stock heating. And the aftermarket cooler I would recommend for this build is the Be Quiet Pure Rock. This CPU cooler is it's very good. It's gonna give you the same performance as the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo, and it's made by Be Quiet, which is it's a pretty well-known brand for CPU coolers, and it's gonna give you some very quiet performance, as it's from the name. And it's overall very good cooler. I've got 120 millimeter fan, which is pretty good. It's the same as the Cooler Master, and it's the moment on our PC it's about £22, so it's cheaper than the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo. And I would recommend getting this, but you can still go with the Hyper 212 Evo if you want. Still very good CPU cooler. Next is the motherboard, and for this build I chose the motherboard I'm using for my own build is the Gigabyte GA970A-UD3P. So this is, in my opinion, the best budget motherboard on the 970 chipset that you can get right now. This is the best one I would suggest if you're getting an FX processor, any FX processor, even the 8350. And the 970 chipset is more than enough to handle FX processors and overclock them pretty nicely. I know that from experience as I'm using the board. It's going to give you some very good performance at a good value, and the quality is pretty good as well. The Gigabyte uses pretty good components and power delivery. It's 8+ 2-phase power delivery, which is very good for the FX CPUs, and it's overall very good motherboard. I was able to overclock my 8320 to 4.5 GHz actually. Next we have the RAM. For this I chose the Kingston's HyperX Fury Black series, 8 gigs of RAM. It's 2x4 sticks, so dual channel, DDR3 1866, so it's clocked at 1866 MHz, which is RAM frequency doesn't improve, that doesn't get you any more FPS, so that shouldn't matter. Even 1600 is perfectly fine, but this is a bit cheaper than the 1600, so I thought I'd just get it. And it's overall very good RAM. I'm using the same RAM in my PC as well, that's why I can recommend it, and it's overall very good RAM. And next we have the storage. So for this I only chose a single SSD. It's the Crucial's BX100 250GB SSD. I only went with an SSD because I believe SSDs, every new build should involve an SSD at this point. The performance gain you get over a mechanical hard drive in terms of the OS, the Windows, the operation of the Windows is just miles apart. So I really recommend getting that. And if 250 gigs is not enough for you, then 1TB storage is going pretty cheaply these days for 30 quid or something like that, and that's gonna give you one storage as well. So if you want to just go with just a 1TB hard drive, then that's fine, but I'll suggest getting an SSD, especially 250 gigs should be enough for the installing Windows and a few games. But if you are playing more than a few games, then you can just get a terabyte in addition, or just find one from an old PC or something like that. So this is it for the storage. And next we move on to graphics cards, and as I mentioned before, I'm using the GTX 950. This is the Gigabyte edition. It's the dual force video card, so it's got 2 fans, not their standard 3, and it's overall very good It's overall a very good card from Gigabyte. They're known for making pretty good cards, and the 950 from benchmarks I've seen is pretty close, or it's pretty close to to the 960, which is a bit more expensive. The performance difference is not that big. There's not as much gap between them. And this one, from what I've seen, it overclocks pretty nicely. You can overclock that to 1500 probably and get some really good frame rates at 1080p for even more demanding games. If you're not just playing those, the like CSGO, Dota 2 and League of Legends. If you want to play more games, like some AAA games, it could be played at medium settings and still get 60 FPS. It's overall a very good card. I would suggest getting it. It's only £140, which is very cheap, and it will give you the pretty good performance for an entry-level gamer. And next is the case, and the case I'm using personally, that's why I can recommend it. It's the NZXT S340. This is just one of the best cases you can get for the money. It just looks good. It's got a clean design, nice big window on the side, very good cable management, and it just plain looks good, and it's only about under 60 quid. So for that price, I cannot recommend any other case. And next is the power supply, and the power supply I'm using is, I'm using it in my own build. It's the EVGA 500 watt A+ bronze certified power supply. So it's not modular, but it doesn't matter with this case because the case features a PSU shroud, which hides all the cables underneath, so you never see them, even if the power supply is not modular. And it's 500 watts, is plenty of power for this build. The 950 only uses about 90 watts TDP, so it's very power efficient. And the FX 6300 processor it's got the same power requirement as the video card, so together they are not going to use that much power, so 500 watts is more than enough. And it's overall very good power supply, A+ bronze, which is what the minimum I'd recommend. Otherwise you stand to probably not get the advertised wattage. And it's overall very good power supply. And this is it for the build, guys. Thank you for watching, and if you like the video, make sure you click the thumbs up button below and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this.